Hey, Release. I was just thinking this afternoon about I had an experience where I was faced with a task and I just didn't know what to do. I was not equipped to to solve the problem ahead of me, and I realised, oh my gosh, this one experience of just a task that I don't know how to solve is triggering all these quite deep-rooted fears and anxieties. And I was just thinking about what they were. I was just sort of asking the Lord, what am I actually believing? What lie am I believing in this situation? Because this actually there's no reason to be stressed about the fact that I don't know how to solve this problem. All I need to do is find a way, and that's anything's possible, right? So it's really basic, but I was getting really stressed out by it. And all these little demons were popping up their ugly heads. And I just started to worship and praise God and sort of fill my heart with trust in Him. And worship is amazing, isn't it? How it really dissolves away those fears that we have when we remind ourselves of who God is. And we talk to our soul, we talk to our mind and our heart, and we remind ourselves of who we are in God. And we allow those opportunities where the fears and those sort of inner demons are raised to speak to them. Take the opportunity. It's a great opportunity to face the moment, look those things in the face and say, actually, now that I'm consciously aware that you're active in my little brain and my heart, I'm just going to speak to you right now and remind you that God is greater, and that that I'm a daughter, and that everything is possible, and that I'm beloved, and all those things. And so worship, that's sort of part A, is worship melts away worries and stresses and demons and anxieties and all those sort of those inner sort of the lies. It really addresses the lies we believe. It's a really powerful way of overcoming those lies and replacing them with truth by just stockpiling the truth in the face of the lies. Like building a bank and knowing that the walls will crumble as we worship, just like Joshua, they worshipped around the walls and the walls fell down. So part A. And part B was just the realization that actually when we worship, it moves us from a place of passivity or flight, fight, freeze, moves us from that place of stress, basically, in our literal chemical chemical workings, biological workings of our bodies, moves us from that place of stress and into a place of confidence and action. It is in itself, worship and praise is in itself an action. It's a conscious decision to turn away from those things that those lies that we're believing and turn towards the truth of God. And God has not called us to be passive, He's called us to action. And so often lies will lead us to being passive. They will, when we're believing lies, it's easy to stay stuck in blame, in shame, in guilt, expecting the circumstances or other people to change, or God to miraculously, sure, he works miracles and He does suddenly do things so often, but He has us in a process and He invites us to participate with Him. It's an active thing, it's an active participation. You don't want a relationship with someone where basically one person has to pull all the weight. That's not a healthy relationship, that's not fruitful relationship. And God really, really wants our participation. So worship really moves us from a place of passivity, and it takes the things that we declare trust in and puts an action to them. In the same way that you trust that a chair is going to take your weight and so you sit down. Worship says, I trust God that you present something different in the face of my enemies, in the face of the lies that I believe, and I'm going to step into those things. I'm going to declare them out. I'm going to declare the power of your name. So tonight, that was part B. Worship is activating. Look at that amazing sunset. Wow. Tonight's declaration is, like David, I consciously cultivate worship in my heart, and when I'm faced with my enemies, I strengthen myself in the Lord. I consciously cultivate worship in my heart, and when I'm faced with my enemies, I strengthen myself in the Lord. Have a great evening.